All right, welcome everybody. Glad to have you with us here on this. For us, it's Wednesday night. Protect yourself at all times. We are on it. Welcome to the Vegas Sportscast with Bill O'Donnell. I'm Ron Futrell. The boss, Bruce Springsteen, bringing us in once again on a week that's been rather crazy in this the city we love.
It has been a somber, hectic, and saddening week. So it's tough to get into the groove of things. So we apologize in advance. We'll do our best here, but life does continue on, and obviously big things happen this week. So
sports has played a role in the recovery, as it always does, as it usually does, and is going to, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But without delving into it too much, obviously a crazed madman, premeditatedly, I mean, we're talking months of preparation, if not years of preparation, decided to go up into a hotel room, 32nd floor at Mandalay Bay, and shoot down on innocent people who were watching a concert. I've been there to that Village lot many times where the festival was taking place, the Harvest Festival, and never in your wildest dreams did you ever think this was happening. It would happen. I mean, this was a, not in magnitude 9/11. Certainly, I don't want to compare those, but just in the idea of you never figured something like this would happen.
No, without a doubt. I mean, that type of planning that this crazed madman did. The story changes a lot, and it has already over the week. For us that's living in Vegas, obviously we're living it day to day, and we're waiting. Every live news press conference that the sheriff puts out is, we wait for new information. And on Sunday, there were a lot more questions than there were answers, and slowly we're putting the pieces together, and still it's surreal, it's weird. It really just puts a different perspective on a lot of things that you expect in life, and it's changed even my thought process, just for things I take for granted. And seeing all the stories of heroism, and from the police to the fans that were on site, to even like the former Marine that stole a truck, and he transported over 30 people to the hospital before the first ambulances even arrived on scene. He made 4 trips from the area to the hospital. It's unbelievable. I just saw the Facebook post, the message between the owner of that truck and that former Marine.
What did it say? I'm curious.
The owner of the truck just said, "Hey, water under the bridge for stealing the truck. If you don't mind, if I could just get the keys back." And
okay, that's
and the Marine,
not asking too much.
And the former Marine responded. He said, "Yeah, absolutely. I apologize in advance. We had to take your toolbox out of the bed of the truck to fit more people." And to be honest, the back of the truck is full of blood. So I mean, it's.
Well, I ran into a guy yesterday morning. I'm doing a story for Channel 8, and I'm at the convention center parking lot. By the way, standing in the parking lot, looking around, seeing large buildings around me. And yeah, the thought occurred to me. I wasn't afraid. I mean, it wasn't a realistic fear type of thing, but at the same time, it was okay. This is what happened. People were in a parking lot just a few miles south of where I was on the Strip on Sunday night. At that point, 30 hours before I was there, because we're now less than 72 hours from this event, and. That thought occurred to me. Anyway, ran into a guy who stopped by who had a similar story about his truck. He had a Toyota truck there, and he had blood still in the back of the truck, and he had a bullet on the left front fender. A bullet had ricocheted and hit off his truck.
Wow.
And still had the mark there on the side of his truck. Clearly it was a bullet mark. And we chatted for a while. He had tears in his eyes going, "I just need to talk, just need to chat." We put him on air, talked to him for a little. And on air was, as he said, good therapy for him to be able to tell his story of what he did, throwing people in the back of his truck. And a girl died in the back of his truck, and he had her earring and said that, I'm trying to find the family so I can give her other earring back to her.
Wow.
So those sort of, there's a guy who lived in Vegas 30 years, is at the Golden Nugget as a bartender at the Golden Nugget. So those sort of stories that happened on that lot out there on Sunday night, beginning at about 10:15. You were downtown.
I was.
You were, or rather, on the Strip at the Link when all of it broke out.
Yeah, so I was about a mile away, a little bit more. when it all broke out. And we were just getting out of a show down there. I was taking a friend of mine out for her birthday. It was my friend and my sister-in-law were with me, and the initial reports came out that there was number one. The first thing we heard was that there were snipers, multiple snipers, sniping pedestrians in the sidewalk, and then it quickly shifted into multiple gunmen. Some type of mass homicide event, and then bombs discovered at the Luxor, discovered at the Mandalay Bay, at New York, and Bellagio. That was the next kind of word that came out, was multiple bombs. Then, as we were, you could see the sense of panic over a lot of people as they were all getting the news on their phones, people calling them. We had a couple of our close family call us to make sure we were okay, because they were getting initial word on that as well. And security came out of nowhere at the link, and they started just kind of patrolling every entrance and exit. Cops were showing up. I mean, it started to make us realize, we need to get the heck out of here, because we don't know if it would be a mass scale attack like 9/11. We didn't know.
Right. How far is this going to go?
At the time we didn't know what kind of thing we could expect. And now as you're trying to navigate your way through the casino, when this mass chaos is starting to unravel, you're looking at everybody like, do they have a weapon? Do they have a bomb? And you start to panic, and we rushed as fast as we could to the parking garage. Once we got there, everybody was starting to leave, right? And I'm looking at, I'm former military. I was looking at choke points, areas that, I don't want to be in. And all of a sudden, I found myself like 4 cars back in the line trying to leave where the gate is, the parking garage gate. And the car in the front of the line is stopped by security, and they're looking in the car, and I'm starting to worry and panic, and I'm like, if this is a suicide vest or suicide bomb in the car.
No, everything would go through your mind.
And I'm like, and I, to be honest, I half thought about running the gate, the entrance gate. I almost went in the other lane and just drove through it, because I just wanted to get out of there. I started going into a panic mode, and I wanted to get out of there. Once I got out onto the Strip, cops were flying down Las Vegas Boulevard.
Headed to the south from where you were.
Headed to the south, and this was only like minutes after. This was minutes after the actual attack, and just flying down the Strip. And I'm heading north because I knew where the location was, and I'm like, all right, well, let me head north because my priority was I have 2 people in my car. I got 2 females in my car.
Keep everybody safe.
I got to keep them safe. And looking back,
sounds very chauvinistic, by the way.
It
misogynistic. All of those istic things.
And looking back, I'll be honest. 1, I was scared. Everybody in the car was. 2, I also feel bad that I didn't go towards the people.
Well, but you were okay. There were plenty of people doing that.
There were, but there
weren't...
could have been more. The amount of time it took for ambulances to arrive, people to get to the hospitals. There could have always been more. Without a doubt, there could have been people patching up, bullet wounds.
That's knowing what you know now. Okay, knowing what you know now, because now you know where the shooter was,
yep.
And you know that you would have been relatively safe if you would have gone down to the Strip in Tropicana, or go a little bit further from Tropicana and keep going down. You would have not been in the gunman's range, but you didn't know any of that stuff.
I didn't.
Knowing what you know now,
yeah,
yes.
You're right.
Okay, so that's hindsight.
And at the time, we thought bombs were going off. That's the stories that were going out, and it continued through the night. The stories of different things. And it started. Okay, I want to go back to the start because it's sort of interesting. And you and I did a radio show this week, a national talk show, and we were on with Wayne Allen Root, and we were talking about the initial. The initial call that came out from Metro, they thought it was gunfire at numerous locations. They named half a dozen strip hotels. They did, and obviously the reverberation of a lot of the sounds of those weapons are going to cause massive echoes and reverb. That's going to make it sound like it was coming from a different place. But to be honest, there's still conspiracy theories right now, still floating about multiple gunmen. There were people have video of flashes on the 13th floor of the Mandalay Bay.
Well, okay, and those I've seen those videos, and I shake my head and go, okay, this is easy enough to refute because none of those windows were broken.
No, none of those windows were
Okay,
broken.
there were 2 windows broken, and they were on the 32nd floor. So anybody that wants to go with second shooter up in the hotel and there's flashes, I can't explain it. Whether somebody just photoshopped them in and they have nefarious motives, whether it's a reflection of something.
Yeah.
But there were no other windows broken.
Now, do any of the lower level windows open at
No.
all? Like nothing. Nothing opens.
Man, again, I asked that same question.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
and maybe on lower levels there's balconies. There are no balconies and no other windows are open. You can't open up there. I mean, that was one of the more foolish and easily refutable things that I saw this week.
One thing I did see at like 2 in the morning, somebody had posted on social media in the emergency incidents page on Facebook. There's the Las Vegas emergency incident page.
Okay. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, it has about probably like 20,000 members, and that's where I always get a lot of the firsthand knowledge before it really hits anything. I track that, and I saw this video of an actual explosion in Vegas, and somebody said that there was a major explosion that happened across from their house at an apartment, and I didn't hear anything about it on the news. I didn't see anything else, and that's why
night,
that same night, it was
same
at
night.
like 2 in the morning. So there was kind of a lot of stories going around, and right now we still sit here wondering what the heck's going on. And to our listeners, obviously this is a Vegas sports cast, but this has dampened a lot of things in the city, and it has caused a dark cloud to kind of loom for the past few days, without a doubt. And you've noticed it too, Ron. I mean, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, people are going through the motions right now, and I've personally hearing stories and seeing stories. I've broken down, knowing that I was down there, and then knowing about the stories themselves of just what happened. I mean, reading about the history of these people that passed and are injured and stuff like that. I mean, reading about their lives. Single mothers of 4.
Charles Hartfield, a Las Vegas Metropolitan Police officer for 11 years, 16 years in the U.S. military, a football coach, a father,
model citizen,
husband, and
the person you would model your life after, without a doubt.
And he's there hanging out because he's a fan of country music. And he gets gunned down.
Yeah.
Off duty. He was an off duty at that time, but a Metro cop. And you look at those sort of stories.
Husband and wife, 32 years, celebrating their anniversary here, and the wife died in the husband's arms.
Yeah,
I mean, just stuff that you just.
No, the human tragedy is unconscionable right now to think about everything that happened there. The motive of the shooter is still not known and still not realized, other than I'll just say he something highly motivated him to do this. And I draw the comparisons between the rage that you might have, a road rage incident. That's one thing where you get angry at somebody on the roadway, you want to run them off the road. You get in a fight in a bar with somebody. Okay, you have those incidents, those things that take place in your life that everybody's had something where they felt that a road rage or something like that. That's a different feeling and much more spontaneous anger or crimes of passion. This was certainly not that, and you knew it from early on. He built platforms in that hotel room. He had camera systems set up that he was able to, outside of the room, so he was able to monitor and see when security guards and when police were coming. And just the device to break the window was something that you don't normally have.
Yeah, it was. Those.
It's been 4 days there.
Yeah, those windows are designed to handle hundreds of miles an hour of winds, like hurricane-style winds, massive, unpenetrable glass that he was able to take out. And the pictures that did get leaked, and obviously those. Those were not meant to be seen by the public, and I don't know who leaked them, but I'm sure they're not happy about that at all.
Joe Lombardo the sheriff was not real pleased.
I'm sure he was not. So those pictures of the inside were crazy. I mean, it's you could see the planning. You could see the stacks of